AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It is AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We're here from SEC Football Media Days, Radio Row Day 3, the first kind of star-studded day of Radio Row. And very pleased now to be joined by Ross Dellenger of Yahoo Sports, longtime friend of the show. Yo, man, thanks for the time. How are you?
Yeah, good.
You know what? It'd probably help if I did this.
It's good. I'm good. Turn up the volume.
Yeah, we're going to turn on that microphone.
I'm good, Matt. Here, another SEC Media Days.
Your role here is, I think, different than it has been in past years, obviously, because you're not here necessarily covering a team. It feels like your role is more covering all the goings on with the Protect College Sports Act. Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess I probably shouldn't have even left D.C. It's a pretty big week, and there's a lot of people up there meeting with lawmakers trying to nail down revisions to the Senate bill to get the SEC and Big Ten on board. And, you know, if they do get on board, the bill has a really good shot of passing, actually. So they're all in D.C. kind of hammering it out. Yeah, I'm kind of doing some stories from here based on some comments from Greg Sankey and others about the bill and the situation. So, yeah, it's not as much football on the field, although that will change probably for me tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm thinking that I'll probably follow around Lane and do a lot of Lane stuff.
Okay, then let's come back to the Protect College Sports stuff, and I'll just ask you then the lane of it all. I mean, you've obviously known him for a good while. What are you expecting tomorrow? I mean, do you think he comes here sort of as a pacifist, or is he coming here to kick the anthill?
Does Lane show up anywhere as a pacifist?
The fact that he spent 2 months off of social media makes me wonder, is he just trying to keep a low profile? I don't know.
I didn't even know that. 2 whole months?
Yeah.
Like the whole summer?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Shortly after the Vanity Fair piece, he went away from social media.
Okay. I wonder if that returns tomorrow.
Maybe.
The return of Lane's Twitter tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's going to be more subdued than normal. That would be interesting and unusual, certainly for Lane. There's going to be so many questions here, though, from so many people about so many things that I kind of would be surprised if he doesn't make some kind of news and buzz a little bit with certain quotes. You know, I mean, it's going to be hard for him not to.
He's incapable of not being somewhere in the headlines. Yeah. That'll happen.
And that's not necessarily always his fault.
Sure.
You know, Lane Kiffin, those 2 words in a headline or story draw just about as many viewers, listeners, readers to a story as any other combination of words. I can tell you from just the metrics and things like that.
Oh, like you'll see that in your Yahoo metrics. Yeah, I believe it, man. Like I see it in all the content we put out. If we talk about if I do a Locked On LSU episode and Lane's face is on the thumbnail or Lane Kiffin's in the title, I mean those those tend to perform. Okay, so we'll. By the way, how do you think they do year one? Just a football question with LSU, Lane Kiffin. How do you think they do? Have you given much thought to the season?
No, not really.
That's fine. That's fine.
I forgot they play football.
I know, right?
At some point, they're playing games.
So then let's go back to the thing that really why you're here and what you're focusing a ton on, which is the Protect College Sports Act. So you said that if the SEC and Big Ten get on board, it's got a good shot of passing. So what needs to happen for the SEC and the Big Ten to get on board?
Well, they sent the lawmakers 10 requests of changes they wanted to see and revisions in the bill. I think they're going to probably get 6 or 7 of those 10. Is that going to be enough? I think so. I think it will. But they're not done. Nothing's finalized. We haven't seen actual revised text of the bill yet. They've been waiting now for a week for that. And partly it's because Ted Cruz, a Republican, and Maria Cantwell, a Democrat, the two authors of the bill, are kind of going back and forth on what the language exactly will say. So it's not as much of an agreement between the lawmakers and the leagues as much of a disagreement right now on some things between the lawmakers because of all these changes. So we'll have to see what actually appears in the bill text, but they've never been closer, I feel like, than agreeing and supporting the bill. And that means, they have the votes in the Senate now. You have to have 60 votes in the Senate to pass. They have the votes now. I think lawmakers believe they have the Senate votes now without the SEC and Big Ten. If they get them on board, they definitely will have the votes in the Senate, and they may even have the votes in the House. This thing has a good shot at passing if the leagues come on board.
Ross Dellenger's with us, Yahoo. What happens if it passes without the SEC and Big Ten changes approved?
I don't think it will. I don't think it'll pass the House. Could pass the Senate, right? Because I think it still has the votes to pass the Senate without them. I don't think it has the votes to pass the House without them.
So you're saying that the states that represent the SEC and Big Ten schools, those congressmen and women would not vote for it?
A lot of them would not, yeah. And remember, who's the Speaker of the House?
Mike Johnson.
And the majority whip, majority leader, right? Steve Scalise. So Steve Scalise is incredibly close to the SEC and to Greg Sankey. And I think that and he controls a lot right now in what gets to the House floor. So I think that it's very hard for me to see a bill that regulates an industry pass Congress without the support of the two biggest stakeholders in the industry, and especially given with the House's situation. But honestly, Matt, they might not even have the votes in the Senate without the SEC and Big Ten. I think that's part of a concern from lawmakers and why you've seen sort of like an expedited movement from lawmakers to make these changes.
What's your day like?
My day?
What's your days like? You looked at your phone like 10 times since we sat down because I'm guessing you're continuously getting pinged. You're getting texts. And it's not just, and it's not like coaches are pinging you because you said you think they're not going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
It's like senators and
This morning I think I woke up probably around 7:30. My first text was at 6:30. I saw on my phone about this, and then I probably had calls starting from 8 to about noon. I probably had 12 calls all about this. People in DC or people around college sports calling to either try to figure out for me what I know or them sharing information about what's going on. And that's what it's been like for the last 2 to 3 months. It's almost like you're in one big damn coaching search, and it won't end. I almost said the F word there. It will not end. And it's really frustrating that it will not end.
Is that the F word you were going to say? Frustrating?
No, yeah. So my day is a lot spent, and I am looking at my phone because they're in the middle of negotiations right now.
I get
Charlie
it.
Baker and Tony Petitti and Jim Phillips are all up there with lawmakers today, and there's some pretty intense negotiations going on.
Do you think it passes?
If the SEC and Big Ten are on board, I think it's above 50%. If they're not, I think it's below 50%.
So if it passes, do we think this actually is sufficient enough regulation to add the guardrails people want in college football to limit things like NIL and portal and I hate saying it because it's so overused, the wild, wild west?
Yeah. Well, it limits transfers, right, to re-implements the one-time transfer exception. So athletes will have one time to transfer before they then have to sit out a year on the second time.
And the conferences are okay with that?
Oh, they want that. That's what they want. Yeah, they want a limit on movement. 2, establishes the 5-year eligibility and bans pro players as well from coming back into play in college. It establishes more of a harder cap around athlete revenue share. It makes it a little more difficult to circumvent the cap, which is why, as part of the bill, they're expanding the cap. They're going to go up in the cap. So right now it's $21 million you have. They're talking about creating a separate pool of money called a retention pool of $25 million. So in all, you'd have $46 million total cap room. But that $25 million is only for retaining your current players. So the $21 million would be for high school players and transfers.
And there's no way to go over that number under this legislation. It's 46.
There's always a way to go over, because the legislation gives antitrust protection to the College Sports Commission to enforce its rules. So it gives them legal protection to do it without being sued. It does. But how much will the College Sports Commission do it? That's what we'll have to.
So it would be true, like true NIL deals,
true NIL.
basically. Yeah.
All deals with affiliated entities or entities that are contracted with schools will be counted against the cap, will be rolled into the cap. That's why the cap is increasing. So there's other things: agent registry and certification, an agent limit, 5% fee for agents. The Lane Kiffin rule, we talked about that, I'm sure. Like, coaches can't leave before their season is complete. That's in the bill, and it's everything. My understanding is it's staying in the bill.
What'd you think of Burns last night?
Burns was good. Burns Steakhouse was good. I enjoyed the tour through the kitchen and the wine cellar, and the steaks were awesome. You know, you have high expectations for your food and drink.
I do.
I have a little lower expectation probably, but I really enjoyed it. It was wonderful. I had the Vesper. The Vesper might have been better than the steak. You know, it's like drinking gasoline. It's gin, vodka, and a twist of lemon or lime in there.
You really debated getting that too. You're like,
because it's really, it'll put you on your you-know-what, you know. And it didn't. I survived. I started the night with a Mick Ultra. That was important. To not have two Vespers.
Yes, very good. I heard the vintage of Mick Ultra at Burns is pretty good.
They have a good Mick Ultra cellar, you know. Mick Ultra cellar. They have dust on the bottles. Hunt Palmer was with us, and he was joking. How old is this Mick Ultra? Back from 1994. It's a good year for the Mick Ultra.
You're drinking a Mick Ultra from '94. I don't want to be anywhere near that. But we are keeping it in the Mockler family, so I appreciate that with the Anheuser-Busch products, Bud Light, Mick Ultra. But drink you a nice cold Bud Light. So we had Chateaubriand and some ribeye. But they bring you so much food. They brought like a salad, a potato, and the soup, and the French onion soup.
We got asparagus.
Yeah, and we got asparagus. Yeah. And then with your steak also comes green beans and the
crispy onions were amazing.
See, this is my problem. We go to this place, which is this world famous steakhouse, right? And you keep talking about the crispy, like the onion rings.
They were so good, though.
Like, you don't go to a world class steakhouse to then rave about the onion rings because they're dusted the way you like. I mean, you go to rave about the steak, and everything else is I don't even need it. That's the point. Like, you can keep everything else if the steak is right.
Well, the steak was right, though.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good, not great.
All right.
Good, not great. It was good, not great.
All right. How was your bourbon?
I wouldn't.
Your bourbon was great.
I had a barrel. It was Weller foolproof barrel pick. Is what I had.
All your fancy stuff.
Look who's talking now. You've come over to the dark side. All right. Don't even act like you're sending me pictures of your whiskey night.
Everybody brings a bottle.
You're sending me pill. Look at hey, what do you think? You're like showing off to me, or like trying to get my opinion or my approval. That are like, look at your nice bottles that you have. I mean, don't sit there and act like you're laying that right at my feet.
Your affinity for bourbon and whiskey's grown on me.
Well, I'm very happy because you're open-minded enough to try new things, because you used to just be like, put bourbon in Sprite or whatever.
I did.
And then we graduated. Yeah. And I showed you why and how you could explore new things. Yeah. And you're like, this is really good. I like it. And then and you also like rye whiskey now as well, which you were very opposed early on. See?
Yeah. Yep. My horizons are opening.
And the Chateaubriand was okay. It was good. It was good. It was good, not great. It was good. It was good, not great. And Burns is weird too. It was like a castle on the inside.
But I love it. It's so
this
cool.
Exposed,
it's cool. It's unique,
the red lighting everywhere, and the old monarch artwork. And
this interview,
we didn't get invited.
Well, we didn't get invited. That's true.
They're like sit and wait at the bar for an hour until your table's ready. Okay. Good.
We got in like 10 minutes early. Come on.
We did. At 9:05. Burns.
All right.
Burns Steakhouse. It was good. Good, not great. That's my review of Burns Steakhouse. Always great at Yahoo is Ross Dellenger. Thank you for the time.
Good to be on.
Appreciate you, man. Be good. Okay, it is After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here from Radio Road SEC Football Media Days. We are brought to you by Rouse's. I don't know if you can get Chateaubriand at Rouse's, but you can get plenty of good stuff there. Hey, a Taste of Summer is this weekend, Saturday at every Rouse's location from 11 to 2. They'll have samples of all your summer favorites. You can get it over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Or go to the Rouse's Facebook page if you want to learn more. You can get that as well there to get all the info. Maybe you're doing your grocery shopping. They get the weekly ad where you can save. If you're buying on a budget, look at where you could save. Rouse's will help you do it with locally sourced products. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. Okay, Ole Miss was the headliner today. As we mentioned, Bama was here, as was Texas A&M. So, too, were the Florida Gators. Jon Sumrall, his debut appearance here at SEC Football Media Days. Our buddy Frank Frangie from 1010XL in Jacksonville stopped by, had a chance to talk to Frank a bit ago. We'll hear that conversation. Expectations for year one under Jon Sumrall next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by our friends over at Renaissance Baton Rouge, downtown right there. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Renaissance is right there on Bluebonnet. Bluebonnet near I-10. It's where the LSU football team has stayed the Friday before home games, which kind of gives you some perspective on their ability to host big-time events at Renaissance Baton Rouge. So, super convenient right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. But also, you're talking about a beautiful, sprawling hotel with tons of guest rooms, enough for any size event that you may have. And the grand ballroom at Renaissance Baton Rouge can host up to 500 people. So if you have a fundraiser, an award ceremony coming up, maybe it's a wedding reception, Renaissance would love to host you right there at Renaissance Baton Rouge. Conveniently located on Bluebonnet near I-10. Check out Tallulah as well inside of Renaissance Baton Rouge. Check them out today. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
Need a steel building? Proform Steel. I want you to remember the name. Why use Proform Steel? Well, I got tons of reasons. Here's a few. How about the lead times? 6 to 8 weeks from signed contract out the door. They'll get it to you quicker. Free delivery on every building. You buy it from them, they'll deliver it for free. It's Proform Steel. You can even order online. You can pick the style, size, color, doors, submit the form, get a call back the same day. And at Proform Steel, they use American-made materials on everything. No exceptions. It's Proform Steel. Maybe you need a shed in your backyard. Maybe we're talking about a big industrial facility. Need a steel building? You want Proform Steel. Make sure you call Brandon Golson, you know the name, at Proform Steel. Check them out, Proform Steel.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Live from the 2026 SEC Football Media Days in Tampa. Presented by FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, Relief Windows, Rev Fiber, and Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Here with Frank Frangie, 1010XL in Jacksonville. Gators taking their turn today. Jon Sumrall made a lot of fans in the main room. What have been your impressions of the new Florida coach so far?
Matt, he's been that guy the whole time he's been there. It was a crazy pursuit. The Gator fans were upset with Napier. They all wanted Kiffin, who wound up at LSU. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to be jumping off bridges. I don't know how good a coach Jon Sumrall is. I guess we'll figure that out. But he has been engaging, authentic, charismatic. So what you saw here today is really what Gator fans have seen the whole time. Is everybody's excited about his energy and the authenticities. So he's a cool dude. Now, that doesn't matter the minute you lose a football game. I get that. Yeah. But for now, I think what you saw today is what people have seen. He's a very engaging guy, and he was the right guy for a broken fan base, Matt.
Why?
Because Florida fans have been lousy for so long. Billy Napier, who was a nice person, never engaged anybody. It's been a long time. Florida hadn't been relevant since 2009. Now, I mean, you think about it, for a while there between Spurrier and Urban, they had some pretty good runs there.
Yeah.
They haven't been relevant in about 17 years. They needed something to pick me up. Now, everybody needs to be good, but they needed to feel the way I think this guy's made them feel.
Well, McElwain and Mullen both got Florida to Atlanta for the SEC championship game, but you still think that in the grand scheme, not...
Yeah, Mullen had a good year in 20 in the COVID year. They were good.
Yeah.
That was a good team. McElwain fell into some bad Easts.
That's fair.
You know, I don't think the East were very good, and he never really connected with the fan base. Mullen did at first, and then I don't know if he didn't want to recruit, but he fell out of favor pretty quick. Now, Dan Mullen's a pretty good football coach.
Yeah.
But they were odd fits. Will Muschamp would have been a wonderful fit. Just didn't win enough games. Didn't turn out to be a very good coach. So it's been a while. Listen, fans are snooty, man. You win a little bit, they want to win forever, right? They think they're entitled. They expect to win. So I think this guy's got them feeling a way they haven't felt in a long time.
Okay, so I agree. Look, from not too distant afar, when Sumrall was at Tulane, we get to watch super engaging guy.
Right.
People like him. I mean, he dropped a few expletives in the main room today.
Sure.
Somebody's phone rang.
Yeah.
Said he wanted to throw a podium at him. He'd be kicked out of me. It's easy to see why people follow him. You got to have players. So is this Florida roster right now capable of?
Yeah.
What kind of turnaround are they capable of?
That's the question. They've got exceptional skill. The receivers, Jaden Ball, the running back. We'll see if the quarterbacks are very good. Exceptional skill on offense. They've got pretty good linebackers and defensive back. But it's as he said in there, it's a line of scrimmage league. It's really a line of scrimmage sport, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think you know about that, Matt. I mean, if you're not physical, I've always said in the SEC, really in college football, if you're good at quarterback and defensive line, you're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the quarterbacks are young, and the defensive line's the one spot I don't know much about. So, honest to God, Matt, I wouldn't be surprised if they won 9 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 5 games.
Okay.
I think that's a cop-out, but we just don't know. There's a lot of 34 new players.
Yeah.
He talked about that too. So, 34 transfers plus signings, so 50 new players.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of new guys, but he's been fun to have around. And by the way, what you saw him say, the expletives and the throwing the podium.
Yeah.
It seemed he's an energetic guy, but he's really smart. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to engage, and so I've seen a lot of that in him too.
So LSU and Florida have played every year since the early 70s. They won't play this year. First time, more than 50 years,
right?
Frank, it's odd. So you know how it goes. You pay more attention to the teams that the team you cover is going to play.
Right.
So for Florida this year, I'm just a little ignorant. Like, who's going to play quarterback?
There's 2 guys. Aaron Philo, the transfer from Georgia Tech, who came with Buster Faulkner, the coordinator. He's played a little bit for Tech, like 9 starts at Georgia Tech. Tramel Jones is a freshman from Jacksonville. John says they're dead even. I'm going to guess Philo's going to be the quarterback. Buster Faulkner's a really highly regarded coordinator. He came, and Philo came with him. I don't think Philo comes unless he's pretty certain that he's got a pretty good chance to win the job. I think I think he gets the first reps at camp. Okay. Then we'll see what winds up happening. From what I'm told, they paid them both. You know, in this NIL world, they're not making what Sam Levin's making, but they paid them both. Okay, so they paid both guys. So I think both guys are going to get paid, and I think Philo will be the quarterback. I'd be very surprised if Aaron Philo's not the quarterback.
So you said quarterback and D-line. You figure those 2 things out, you're usually pretty good. So question at quarterback, probably Philo. What about on the deal? Frank, last year, talked to Caleb Banks, and I did it like you and I are doing here, stand-up interview, and I'm like looking up, head at a 45. It's a giant human.
Right.
So it's a literal huge shoes to fill, but how else are they going to be in the D-line?
Well, that's the question. I think the edges will be pretty good. Jaden Wood State, he's a good player. They've got some young edges. KJ Ford, a young guy, that they think the edges will be pretty good. I don't know if they'll be good at defensive tackle. Makai Burrow was their best defensive tackle. 6'5", 350.
It's big.
He went to Ole Miss. He transferred to Ole Miss.
Okay.
Caleb Banks, they couldn't keep on the field, but he's that same kind of a guy. So I don't know. Here's my guess. My guess is there's some energy in the program. He'll continue to build it. He looks like he's having a very good recruiting year, if that matters anymore. He understands. He made a good point in here. He understands the portal thing because that's all he's known. My guess is he'll start to rebuild it. and this will be a 7-win football team. If I'm guessing, that'll be a 7. And that's without knowing how there's a lot of new coaches. So that's how's Ole Miss going to do now with Golding as a coach? How's Alex Golesh at Auburn is new. We played both of those teams, so there's a lot of newness. So we have to see how the newness for everybody plays out. But not knowing that, I would say Florida is a 7-win football team. I would say the ceiling's 8 or 9. Okay. I would think the floor's 4 or 5, but I'd say a 7-win football team. And by the way, it's a tragedy that Florida's not playing LSU. It's a tragedy that Florida's
Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn agree with
It's a terrible thing. And they're not playing Tennessee. How do Florida and Tennessee not play?
That's the bizarre.
So I don't like any of it. I'm opining here, but I don't like any of it. So.
He's Frank Frangie, 1010XL in Jacksonville. We're talking some Gators. What is the defining stretch on the schedule for Florida this year?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, they have a stretch right in the middle of the season where Georgia's there, Texas is there, Ole Miss is there. They don't have the personnel that I don't think they've got the personnel that those 3 teams have. So how do you play against that? Well, they got a great running back. Jaden Ball is a great back. They got a great back.
LSU would have liked to have gotten him in the portal.
Yeah, right. So, a lot of people would have. So I think in that stretch where you've got Georgia and Texas and Ole Miss all lumped in there in the middle, they start out okay. If they win at Auburn, they probably start 4-0. But then here comes the Ole Miss, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, a little stretch in the middle, and then it gets a little easier at the end. So that clump in the middle, I think they got it with a young quarterback. Can they run the ball? Can they run some clock, as it were? Can they take a little time off the clock? I think they've got to be that kind of a team. And to do that, Matt, you got to have a good line, and who knows? We'll see. But I think that's the clump of the schedule to be hard for them.
You're also the longtime radio play-by-play voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Saints and Jags going to tangle in the preseason.
Yeah.
How are LSU guys looking down in Jacksonville this year?
You know what's funny about that? I called you about Mason Smith, who we've since traded. God, I thought he was going to be good.
Yeah.
Both Jordan Jefferson and Mason Smith are 2 guys I thought were really good, and for whatever reason didn't turn out. So they're both gone, by the way.
Jordan Jefferson, the defensive lineman who transferred to LSU from West Virginia, who got drafted by Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
In the portal era, we got to remind.
That's right. And Mason Smith, the big defensive tackle.
No, we remember Mason. Yeah.
So both guys are gone. I thought Mason Smith. God, I thought he was going to be good. So they're both gone. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to have a resurgent year. Mark my words.
Hope so.
He struggled a little bit early on. He's fast, dude. I mean, he's NFL fast. When you're fast, when you're NFL standard fast, he can change defenses. He takes the top off the defense, and he's committed. I talked to Brian. Brian realizes, okay, had a great rookie year, did not play well in the first part of last year. Everybody knows that. Had some drops. Went through a lot. Got quiet. Kind of became more of an introvert. Didn't want to talk about it. I saw him at minicamp and OTAs. Oh, dude, he looks like Brian Thomas. He'll have a resurgent year. I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
Love that. Frank Frangie, 1010XL in Jacksonville, the voice of the Jags as well, talking some Gators and some Jags. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Matt.
Always great to catch up with Frank, one of the great veteran talkers in the conference and someone we get to see every year down here. And obviously his perspective on the Jags, really great as well. We're glad to have you aboard with us. We are brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, if you're thinking of popping the question, you know what to do. Go where people in our state have gone for 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. 9 locations, 2 in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at LMFJ.com. Remember, at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, they will, with the selection they have, they're sure to find something that you love. And if they don't or have it, they'll find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. And if you don't love it, return it. They want her to be thrilled and you to be a hero. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thanks to Frank Frangie for a couple of minutes with us. From the Florida Gators to the opposite end of the spectrum, as Florida's got a new head coach replacing Billy Napier, trying to come back after a sub-500 season. The question for the Texas A&M Aggies are, okay, well, what do you do for an encore? They were 10-2 a season ago. They go to the college football playoff, and they lose a home game to Miami, who, of course, became the eventual national runner-up. So do the Aggies backslide like Tennessee did a year ago, or do they take a step forward and become a national championship contender? We'll talk about that with our friend Billy Liucci from Texas next on AFR.
AFR.
REV, Rev Fiber, RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com. One of the great presenting sponsors of our coverage here all week at SEC Football Media Days, and we're so grateful for that. And a big shout out to our friends at Rev, who we just found out a week ago are officially now a proud partner of LSU Athletics. So when you see Rev, you'll see that LSU logo. They're great supporters and sponsors of the LSU Fighting Tigers. So you know when you support Rev, you're also supporting the Tigers. RevFiber.com, RevFiber.com. But the bottom line is, look, they offer a better product at a better price and great customer service. 90 years locally in the market, 90 years locally in the market. They also offer a fiber network, so you don't have to worry about a tree limb falling on a power line and knocking out your cable or your internet because it's buried under the ground. And they're going to give you a better price. It's Rev Fiber. Check them out online at RevFiber.com. RevFiber.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Thank you for voting Parrish the best roofing company in the best of Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Live from the 2026 SEC Football Media Days in Tampa. Presented by FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, Relief Windows, Rev Fiber, and Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Billy Liucci, Texas Aggies. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome.
Busiest man here, I feel like sometimes.
Feels like it sometimes. We're all busy, man. Aggies took their turn today. I think A&M's so interesting this year because, look, they were a playoff team a year ago. At the great start to the season didn't end the way I'm sure that a lot of people there wanted. But it almost feels like A&M and Oklahoma, there's not enough conversation considering they were playoff teams a year ago. Do you feel that at all? Externally?
Yeah, I do, and especially up here. I knew that's what we were going to feel, though, because I'm a big line of scrimmage guy. And they lost 4 starters up front on the O-line. They lost 3 to the draft on the D-line. They lost 7 draft picks on the line of scrimmage. I do really like what they added back in the portal. They also, more importantly, maybe they kept their backups. So, you know, LSU fans will see like Cohen Eccles, Tyree Adams. Alabama fans see Wilcom Formby. But they also kept every second and third year guy. So it's a wide open battle for spots on that O-line. And I like what they did, but until you see it on the field in the SEC, you know, I also think a lot of fans looked at A&M and OU, they broke through. Now, I give Elko a lot more credit for that. He broke through in year 2. Venables, it was, year 4 or 5. But are they Tennessee? Are either of these teams like they came in the playoffs and they're out? Or are they going to prove this year that, hey, you're going to see us in this conversation or in this field more often than not? And that's where the Aggies are trying to get. And if they do it this year, losing 10 NFL draft picks and come back and get back in, then I think you can say, okay, they just took a massive step as a program in terms of the pecking order in the SEC.
So one of the reasons that I like A&M is I think there's 2 absolutes about this team. Number one, Mike Elko's a great defensive coach. That's like an objective truth. As long as he's there, it feels like the Aggies are going to be good on defense. Yeah. It's like wherever Lane Kiffin goes, you know they're going to be good on offense. For sure. Okay, so defense, and then you got the quarterback situation figured out because Marcel Reed is back. So when you look specifically at Reed, where's the improvement come year over year for him? What are you all looking to see the improvement?
Well, I'll start by this, and you go back to that LSU game. He's got to limit the 12 interceptions in 13 games. It's not crazy. You say he's got to limit interceptions. Yeah, sure. But I think it's that red zone picks. He threw a pick against LSU in the end zone. He ended the game against Miami with a pick in the end zone. He threw one at the goal line in the 4th quarter against Texas. He threw a pick in the end zone against Florida.
What do you attribute that to?
I just think
that's interesting.
Part of that is sometimes are we trying too hard to make him a pocket passer down there? I think you see a lot more. You'll see guys dropping back down in there, and inside like from the 10-yard line in. I think a lot more guys are facing him versus turning their backs to him, and I think that affects him. I think he's got to get better against zone defenses, and I just think they need to do a better job too and they did it against LSU. Damn near every time they're in the red zone, they're running them for 2 years straight, right? You know that, but But they didn't do that.
The book was out, man, with the running quarterbacks against LSU with
But
Baker.
they didn't do that on the goal line against Texas 2 years ago. They didn't do that once in 3 shots from the 5 against Miami. And I think you have to embrace that and realize, like, move this guy around, give him different sight lines, and let him, because sometimes I just think he'll see it and he doesn't just rip it. If you look at that play against Miami, he didn't get a block and he didn't step into that thing and, lose his mouthpiece. He kind of threw it like this, and it's back and behind the tight end, and the rest is history. So I just think the decisions have to be so quick in there. And Marcel, you'll see him today. He's a very sharp kid.
Yeah.
But it's football decision making. You got to be confident and just go with it. And I think if they get him moving around, it takes the pressure off of him and puts it more on the guys trying to stop him.
His sneaker game's on point today, too.
It is. I
like
saw
that gold patent leather in there. I mean,
I did. He's trying to keep
gold.
up with Moscona.
He's trying.
It's not easy.
Trying.
It's not easy.
Succeeding. Trying. Billy Liucci, Texas Aggies. So the top Craver, Concepcion, those guys were awesome last year. They're gone. So who's catching the ball?
No, Craver's back.
Oh, Craver's back. Who's the other one's gone? Concepcion's gone?
Concepcion.
Okay, so
which is big, but
yeah.
Craver looked even better in the spring. He looked awesome. They brought in Isaiah Horton from Bama.
Yeah, from Bama, sure.
He's kind of a possession guy for them. 3 touchdowns in the Iron Bowl, and they need that. They needed a big physical outside presence. Ashton Bethel-Roman, he the one-handed catch and back, but he had some other big.
We saw it.
Probably the fastest guy on the team. Him or Brandon Arrington, the 5-star freshman corner. But those 3, Terry Bussey, who was having an outstanding spring until he got hurt, and he's fun. And the name I'll say, outside of those 4, it sounds like, okay, that's a good group. Remember the name Aaron Gregory. He is, he's different, man. True freshman from Georgia. He was borderline 5-star, but that dude he's the best true freshman receiver I've seen at A&M since Christian Kirk.
Wow, okay.
Reminds me more of the guys that you guys have had come through Baton Rouge, though, the kind of longer arm, more, go up and get it, but also have the speed to get on top of a defender on the outside. No matter what they got at receiver, that dude's going to force his way in and be a factor.
Okay. Billy Liucci, Texas Aggies, hanging out with us here for a couple more minutes. SEC Football Media Days. We talked about defense. I assume that the Aggies are going to be fine on defense. What about schedule? Obviously, it's not just who you play, but when and where you play them.
Yeah.
What's the stretch? Every team has a defining stretch on their schedule. What is it for A&M this year?
Do you want to say the last 6 games? It's like Bama, at South Carolina, home against Tennessee, at OU, and Texas at home. Yeah, that's a crazy 5 days. But I'll narrow that down, and I'll say it's a stretch of. I think everybody's going to say, it's this. I think OU on the road is their toughest game of the year.
Okay.
It's the week before Texas. That defense, you don't want that play of that kind of defense at home.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say the toughest stretch to me is, or the defining stretch. It's at Bama, at South Carolina, home against Tennessee. You know why I'm saying that? There's a world where you could look at that and go, they could win each of those games individually.
Sure.
Well, you might need to. You might have to go 3-0 in those.
Yeah.
You look at the road trip to Death Valley, road trip to Norman, playing Texas again. To me, that's a stretch where you go, it'll be very difficult to go 3-0, but it's within the realm of possibility, so you might have to freaking just go do it.
Yeah. You got to get the ones that you're supposed to get when you have a stretch at the end of the season like A&M does. You think they're back in the playoff again this year? I think there's 8 teams, Billy.
I said the same thing.
8 here this week that their fans expect them to be in. All A&M getting in.
I don't even know that A&M fans expect it, because they're a little more pessimistic usually than the feeling I get on the inside is okay, we got the guy in Elko, and this program's going to be really good. Or you look at how they're recruiting, you look at the NIL, but at the same time, it's I think their confidence level is a little lower than the people here. A&M's a prime playoff contender. I agree with you on 8. And I think it goes Texas and Georgia, little gap, because it ain't like it used to be.
Who do you think's next?
I think I don't know the order, but I think it's a group of I think Ole Miss drops off.
Agreed.
Don't underestimate not just Lane Kiffin, but Charlie Wise.
Coaching matters, man.
And,
Yes, it
and
matters.
your best
Yes.
pass rush.
Yes.
Like, so, in order, I might go OU, A&M, and then to me it's like Bama, Ole Miss, LSU.
Yeah.
LSU is obviously the wild card. I mean, that 10-2 would not surprise me. Them 8-4 wouldn't.
Agreed.
If they went 9-3, how would you feel about that?
They'll be out of the playoff.
But how would you feel about that season?
It'll be disappointing. I think. Well, I just think with the money they've spent,
Yeah, true.
the expectation
The
is
money
to be
is
there.
a wild.
But you're right.
You'd have to have some nice wins to go 9-3.
They are in. Yeah.
You could beat A&M, Texas, and pick whoever.
And you've still got Clemson, Bama, at Tennessee in November. I mean, it's Ole Miss on the road. I mean, it's a gauntlet. Like 8-4, you could look and say that's in the realm of possibility. But
Matt,
if that happens, it's disappointing. It's on the roster.
And same with A&M, they're spending too.
Yeah.
And I'm on the 9-3, 10-2 fence right now.
Yeah.
Make me pick one. I'll say they get in there. That's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at that schedule and say 10-2. They could be the same team they were last year and 9-3, and you're going like last year's team might have gone 9-3 on this schedule.
Billy Liucci, Texas Aggies. Thanks, man.
All right, man.
Always appreciate our buddy Billy Liucci, someone we enjoy catching up with every year here at SEC Football Media Days. When it comes to covering the Aggies, he's the best. I mean, he has built a giant media entity over at Texas Aggies, and they do an awesome job. So we appreciate Billy for spending a couple of minutes with us. Hey, we're brought to you by Hancock Whitney, HancockWhitney.com/Matt. Proud partner of LSU Athletics, the official banking partner of both LSU and the New Orleans Saints. It's Hancock Whitney. And if you're interested in getting started, they gave us our own custom URL so you can support the show here by letting them know that you heard about Hancock Whitney on AFR by going to HancockWhitney.com/Matt, HancockWhitney.com/Matt. And I've told you before, I've banked with Hancock Whitney for as long as I've had a checking account, like since I was a kid. Now Hancock and Whitney merged, but HancockWhitney.com/Matt is where you can go. And I love the fact that no matter where I go, there's a branch near me. There's over 200 ATMs in the Southeast region footprint. So wherever I go, I'm not far from a Hancock Whitney ATM and even full banking center. So HancockWhitney.com/Matt to learn more. Great partner here on AFR, and of course the official banking partner of the LSU Tigers and the official banking partner of the New Orleans Saints. HancockWhitney.com/Matt. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us here. Putting up on hour number 2 from Radio Row SEC Football Media Days here on our Day 3 coverage. One quick follow-up to Billy Liucci we'll wrap up with, because Marcel Reed we did not talk about with Billy there, the new OC. Remember, Colin Klein is now the head coach at Kansas State, so they have a new OC at A&M, a dynamic that's is worth mentioning. We'll let you hear what he had to say to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Yes, you can go to the website, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You can also call the 888-8888, 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. They got offices all over the state, a team of incredibly talented and successful attorneys that can help fight for every dollar you deserve. Because the bottom line is, look, if you're hurt, you've had damage to your vehicle, whatever the case may be, if there was an accident that's not your fault, man, like, you need to get your life back on track, get your life back in order, and get what you deserve. And Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys and his team can help you do that. So go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or call 888-8888, 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. Had dinner last night at Burns Steakhouse here in Tampa, and it was good. It's a world-famous steakhouse. Didn't hold a candle to Supper Club. And you could roll your eyes and you can hem and haw and say whatever you want, but the bottom line is one of my favorite things to do when I travel is get a list of the top steakhouses in that market and go check them off. And I've been to some awesome ones, from Gallagher's in New York City and SW Steak in Las Vegas and all over the country. And I'm going to tell you, Supper Club is right up there with the tops of them, because you will find rare beef that you will not find in some cases literally anywhere else in the United States of America. We've talked about that Omi beef in the past. There's 2 steakhouses in the country that have access to it, but that's what Chef Layton does. He goes out and he finds rare beef, brings it to Baton Rouge, so you can have a world-class experience right there on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge at Supper Club. So get your reservation at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. Great night to get by. Make it a Supper Club night.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Live from the 2026 SEC Football Media Days in Tampa. Presented by FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, Relief Windows, Rev Fiber, and Parrish Construction and Roofing.
Yeah, obviously, ton of respect for what Coach Klein did with us, and he did a phenomenal job laying the foundation for our offense. But I also think one of the things now that we've kind of gotten into is having a dedicated quarterback coach that's not running the offense, and I think that's been really, really good for not only Marcel, but all of our quarterbacks. And I think the ability to kind of just spend the entire day, Coach Lynch, focusing on, Marcel's development and what he can do today to take the step forward and not have to be concerned about the culture of the offense and scripting and meetings and all of the things that go on the plate of an offensive coordinator, I think has really been a unique transition that's been very helpful for Marcel.
It's interesting that Mike Elko talked about the dedicated quarterback coach and not the offensive coordinator, who's Holman Wiggins. Wrapping up hour number 2 here from SEC Football Media Days Radio Row. Remember, Colin Klein, who was the offensive coordinator a year ago in College Station with Mike Elko, is now the head coach at Kansas State. So while the Aggies have visions of getting back to the playoff and competing for a national championship, they will have a new play caller and offensive coordinator with Holman Wiggins, who was the co-OC in title a year ago, but worked with the wide receivers. He now has dropped the part of the title and is the primary play caller. And Marcel Reed talked about his relationship with Coach Wiggins.
It hasn't been a crazy transition. Going into every single offseason, there's an install and everything. So you got to learn new things every single year. But I think the change this year was just, we changed up our verbiage a little bit. And, that's always how it goes. People get your number. So you got to change it up every single year. But, nothing really drastically different. I'm in the room with Coach Wiggins and my quarterback coach, Coach Lynch, a lot this offseason, just trying to pick their brains a little bit, let them pick mine. And so we're on the same page when it comes to each and every weekend this year. So really excited for it. Still going to be explosive, still going to have really great offense. So, looking forward to it.
Marcel Reed is a really impressive young guy, and you can understand why his teammates rally behind him as the leader of the team. But I do look and I say, listen, LSU went through a similar thing a couple of years ago with Mike Denbrock leaving for Notre Dame and Joe Sloan being promoted to offensive coordinator. When you change a variable, there's always the chance it doesn't go well. Now, Holman Wiggins coached for 5 years under Nick Saban in Alabama from 2019 to 2023 before going to A&M, where he's been the last 2 seasons under Mike Elko. But now, for the first time, he will be the sole play caller, and that is going to be a transition. We'll see how it goes this year at College Station. Sports Center coming up next.
AFR.
As we wrap up hour number 2, we remind you about South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Hey, it's South Point Volkswagen. They're Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. So if you're thinking of buying a car, if you're in the market for a new vehicle, I've told you for more than a decade, just put Volkswagen on your list and go see our friends at South Point Volkswagen. Airlines just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. New or certified pre-owned, and you can check out all the dealer specials, even work out your financing online. And the 4th of July savings event is continuing on, even though we're moving through July. So in some instances, you can get as low as 0.9% for 60 months. That's basically free money for 5 years. Look, get all the specifications, all the info at the website. You get the promotions tab at the top. See all of the dealer specials that they have going on right now at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?